All right, y'all. I want to transition to one last topic before we get up out of here tonight, and I want to take this to more so. I know we're dealing with the running back rotation. We're talking about preparation for Florida State. This week in preparation, we have, tomorrow's going to be the first day of basically prep week for Florida State. What are some things that you are looking to hear? Jeffrey, we'll start with you. Looking to hear from, this week's practices when it comes to game planning and development. What are some things, just if you're aware of what Florida State is doing, what Coach Tony White, defensive coordinator, expects to do? What are some numbers that you're looking to attack when it comes to hitting this game plan against Florida State this week?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that big keys for the Florida State game is it's a road game. So, obviously getting that crowd noise that you always hear when they're doing, fall camp, scrimmages and practice scrimmages, that they usually have crowd noise in the background to try to prepare. That's always a key, because if this game was, late in the season, kind of like where we've had like the Mercer games in the past, to that degree, and Florida State's like 3-7, it still will be somewhat of a tough atmosphere, but this is week one, so obviously Florida State fans are going to show up. It's going to be sold out. It's going to be a crazy environment until either Florida State fans find out their team is terrible or the game's actually competitive and they're going absolutely nuts. So that's one thing I want to, hear, that they're preparing for the crowd noise. Also, their game plan for Ty Simpson, because what are they going to do with him? Are they going to try to out of the gate, try to go deep a couple times? Are they going to, try to get a big play to strike first? Especially if, to your point, like if they don't use Ryan Williams on a kick return, just say Alabama gets the ball first and he gets them to like the 50 already, so they're in plus territory. Just say they're getting the ball at the 20, 30-yard line and Ty Simpson, like it's his first drive in that environment. You're not playing, a nobody. You're playing Florida State, even if they're not going to be good this year, or whether they're going to be good. They're a legitimate team. So it's like, are you going to try to ease Ty Simpson into it? Are you going to do a lot of dump offs? I want to see how they're preparing, Ty Simpson, whether they're going to just trust in him, whether they have enough faith in him that he can make all the throws right out of the gate, or whether they're going to try to ease him into the game, whether they're going to do a lot of short passes, a lot of runs early on, and try to work his way to, throw some down the field passes. We have the receivers for that. We have, Ryan Williams can catch the ball anywhere. Horton is dangerous. Bernard is really good. So you got to use those guys. You don't want to just give them 2-yard passes. But I think that's kind of what I'm looking for is, just see what their game plan is for, Ty Simpson, how they're going to use them early, and how much they're going to run the ball. Because, yes, I want to see them run the ball. Even with Jan Miller's injury, I want to see Richard Young and Daniel Hill get a lot of touches. But you don't want to be overly reliant on the run. I'm more of a 50-50 guy. Maybe in this day and age you lean a little bit past, like 55-45. But I prefer more 50-50 run and pass, just to see, how they're going to attack Florida State's defense. Because I think that overall we are significantly better than them, on offense and on defense. So I feel like we can, exploit a lot of, just weaknesses that their team has. They don't have as much talent as we do. So we can do that, but it's just, what's the approach? I think that it'd be a little bit easier to gauge if this was like, week 2, week 3 game instead of a week 1 game, because we've seen so many times where teams struggle in a week 1 game because they didn't have, more time to, ease into the season. And that's why this game legitimately could be a blowout win for us, or, a dogfight where the game goes either way. And then by the end of the season, we're way better than Florida State. So it's going to be interesting, but I just want to see how, we choose to attack early on. Are we going to be, very aggressive, or are we going to be more conservative, try to ease our way into the game?
Right. And so, Justin, go ahead, brother.
What's up? I want to see how much pressure Alabama puts Thomas Castellanos under.
Like, we should be putting a lot of pressure on him.
100%.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because I can't wait to see what happens, because like he's been like chirping a lot in the off season. I just want to see if he tries to put his money where his mouth is. I don't think he will, though.
I like to see. I'll tell you like this, man. From a coaching perspective, I just want to see how fluent of a game plan we've already been developed. I understand is the first actual week of game planning for Florida State. But I think the great ones, Coach Saban was one of the ones that utilized fall camp, spring camp to prepare for the upcoming season based off of coordinators that he knew he was facing the next season. He didn't care about, the team. He talked about the coordinators. And so I kind of added that to my arsenal when it comes to analyzing the college game and being able to report on it and talk from both those standpoints, being on the sidelines, being on the media side of things. I see Kalen DeBoer and their staff, even in last scrimmage, I saw some things that I was like, okay, this is going to attack Tony White's style of defense. The match cover 3 that you see on NCAA is not how they run the match cover 3 in real life. I'm telling you right now, they have very few pass offs in their scheme on the back end. And I think that's something that Ryan Grubb loves to attack. You're going to see a lot of switch releases with the wide receiver concepts, a lot of flood concepts, second level, third level attacking the in the flood concepts, a lot of mesh, a lot of quick screen out to the perimeter. You're going to see Ryan Grubb and his staff attack the edge on the offensive edge, on the offensive end. That way, once you do see the bruising style of running that you want to see this year from this offense, it's going to be effective. They're going to have to go left and right so much, man. Once you hit them in the mouth, right up the middle, man, it's going to be tough to contain. And we just need this, like you said. Do you take that first play and kind of just let it rip? Just to knock all the nerves off. Whatever it turns out to be, if it's an interception, so be it. If it's a big play touchdown, so be it. If it's an incomplete pass, so be it. But we're going big because we know this the moment. So let's go ahead and blow one off. Yeah, I don't know if y'all were old enough to drink, right? But it's been nice.
I'm 6 years past it. Jeffrey became 21 in January.
Oh, congratulations, Jeffrey. I don't know if you've ever experienced a day or night where you were anxious for a night or a big celebration coming along, and you said, man, you know what? Bump it. And you just threw one back just to kind of knock the edge. That's what I feel like. Take a shot. Take a shot, Bama. I feel like this is the year for it. Second year 2 under Kalen DeBoer, offense leading off. I think that might be a thing, like try to get the ball first. I feel like that's what they've done. Go look at what they did Washington week 1 with Penix that second year as a starter. Mm-hmm. They started their first game with the ball, man. And that offense, everybody started talking about it from the first drive of the season. While we're here, though, in the middle of this, getting ready to close out, I need everybody on the Coach Smook Network. We got 35 live viewers right now, 23 likes over there. Take a moment right now. Tap out of there. There's a comment pinned at the top of the chat. Click on that link. Slide over here to the Alabama at the Voice of College Football channel. Drop a like. Subscribe over here. Turn on your notifications because starting in September, after the kickoff against Alabama, you will see all post-game, post-practice reporting here on the Alabama Voice of College Football with myself, my brother Jeffrey, and my brother Jackson. We'll be having some guest appearances by other personalities and analysts that cover Alabama football and other teams in college football. So you definitely want to come over here, hit that like, subscribe. Make sure y'all stay in tune with what we're doing over here. Fellas, let's round this thing out. Final thoughts on just where the team is from your standpoint, whether that's fan, analyst, media, whatever. Where does this team stand right now going into this week 1? Let's start off with Jackson.
Well, we got a great shot. I think 2025 looks very good for us. I've got a great feeling about it, especially with it being 12 days until kickoff. So it's coming. It's coming before we know it.
All right, Jeffrey, talk to us, man. 12 days till kickoff. How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling mostly good of where Alabama stands. I mean, honestly, there's nothing perfect. You can't, ever say, oh, like things are just going perfectly. We're about ready to dominate the season. But, the injuries, that's a bit of a setback. But like I said, not too significant. I'm not too worried about those injuries, especially because with Jam Miller, it might end up being a positive at the end of the day, even though, like you said, Coach Smook, you never want to see an injury like that. If it can still be a positive, that's great. I think mostly the media is positive. I think DeBoer is positive. The scrimmages have been mostly positive. So I think that, we're not looking like to be the best team in college football next year. I don't think we're back to, Saban's level or anything like that. We'll have to see it once we kick off. But I think Alabama in my opinion, is in a better place now than they were 12 months ago. So hopefully that translates to a better season this year. But I think mostly accounts are pretty positive for sure.
100%, man. And then I'm gonna echo that, man. I think right now we're at a good level to where you know where your problem areas are, and when you look at the chart and your problem areas are places where development is just it's a part of timing, right, and being able to get the reps in. I think you're at a good spot. When it's not schematic, lack of comprehension of the scheme, when it's not those issues, when it's not behavioral issues off the field, when it's not those things that's really your problems. When it's like, man, who's going to be my third team guy? Who's going to be what freshman do I throw out there for my first group of kickoff return? Because you got to have some veterans out there, some guys that understand the speed of the game and don't get overzealous. Like, you got to have some type of leadership out there. So where do we find the balance in there? How do we keep these guys competitive with the load sharing that we give out in practice? And what timing is good to release our final depth chart? Like, all of these things, when those are your problems, you're in a good position. So I'm ready. 12 days to kick off. I think Alabama, Florida State is going to be one of the games to watch, not just as a fan, but I think Florida State is going to surprise a lot of us fans, right? Well, I'm going to say us fans, but I know what's coming. And I think this is going to be a great first 12 to 17 minutes of football that we're going to see from Florida State before the numbers start showing up, right? You always get your best punches in that first 12 to 15 minute stretch, 12 to 17 minutes. And that's usually, your first quarter into the middle of the second quarter. And then you start to see the numbers start to play out. And I think that's where Alabama's going to have the edge this season compared to last season. We're going to have the edge in the numbers now. It's going to be 5 or 6 guys at a position that can do that job at the same level, at the same peak. And you're going to have to be able to scheme for that, and it's hard to scheme for that. Not everybody has the roster to do that. So that's my take on it. That's our take here on the Alabama at the Voice of College Football.